Hey guys, so now we're here in the second episode of Kana Labs podcast, and we have someone really special. When I say special, special in terms of how that person relates to the country I'm from, how it relates to a lot of the partners and ecosystem that we work with, and how it relates to global economy itself. Because he comes from a country and he's been building in this country since a long time, and I think very timely so, because how this country is progressing, it does seem like it is a high growth place. So I think you guys might have guessed it, who it is. It's Naresh. He's building Aptos from India, and let's hear from him. Hi, Naresh.
Hey Surbhi,
How
how
are
are you
you?
doing?
I'm actually good. How are you? I heard you just traveled and you just came back from New York, and it's been quite hectic for you.
I was a bit jet lagged today. I feel better. It was my first time in New York. Really liked the place. I've only watched it in like US TV series, Friends, and things like that. Really enjoyed the place. I think I could stay in New York for a long, long time.
Oh, wow. Is it the first time? Okay, so did you like the vibe of working? You know how everybody's on it? Like, what was it that you liked about New York? Before we get into your introduction, let's just like quickly wrap this up.
So I spent only about a week, and it was mostly working with the Aptos team and a bunch of other teams that came together for
Mm.
that one week. So the work culture there was good, but what I really liked was the environment, the way everybody is always on the go. I also did some touristy things at the end, and really liked Empire State Building, Liberty, a bunch of these things. But overall, I think the way people are, no bullshit, straightforward. I really like that.
Oh, Naresh, it's so funny. Like, I relate to all those things apart from one, that is doing touristy things. Like, it's so unfortunate. I've been to New York. I've worked in New York. I've lived in New York. And after that, also, I've been there several times. In fact, I think you're aware, I've even worked out of Aptos office I think last month, maybe. And I've never seen Statue of Liberty. I've been to Empire State Building, I think, but I've literally not seen most of the thing which people would have. I've been to Met as well, but I've never seen it because I'd just gone for in my traditional finance days. I used to have this annual dinner, which we had at MoMA, but I've not seen the thing. So I think I'm just so uneducated in that aspect. So I think once we meet in person, by the way, I'm in your city, I'm in Bangalore. So welcome back. When we meet in person, I would love to hear and see pictures like how was it. And next time I will make sure I go and see these things.
Yeah.
Um,
So, just regarding the touristy things, all the days it was basically, 8 a.m. go to office, 10, 11 p.m. come back. But on the last day, I took some time for myself, about 3 hours, and I was like, hey, let me just, and I was alone. So I just went, saw Statue of Liberty from far, and then
hmm.
did like New York Stock Exchange, Empire State Building. So it was fulfilling. I could have easily avoided it, but wanted to take some time out.
I think it's so important, and I think I'm glad you did not avoid because I do know how long your hours are, or like how busy it always gets. I think when you do these things, it kind of also inspires in a different way, and you look at life in a different aspect, which is required that creativity, that different view, that aspect, that chill down period to come back new, fresh, and think in multitude of ways. However, now I think I would love to continue this conversation probably post this podcast because I think I love when people travel. But I would like to know, so who is Naresh? And Naresh, what are you doing for Aptos?
So I've been, I think 2014, I started as an engineer, typical Indian, family going to engineering. But surprisingly, I was the first engineer in my extended family. I come from a small town in Rajasthan, and I was fortunate to spend my like schooling, and engineering in Hyderabad. But came out as a first engineer. Took the first job that I got from engineering. I spent about a year and a half in Infosys. Um, it was pretty tricky in college. Also, you get your first placement and they don't let you sit in other. And I didn't know anything apart from Java, so I was like, "Hey, this is a great opportunity. Let me do that." The first few months of training in Infosys are amazing. They literally spoil you. Engineering colleges are run on Jugaad, but when you come to the Infosys Mysore campus, you are treated in this luxurious sort of a lifestyle. Every day, your room is cleaned, the bed sheets, everything is changed. So about 5 months I was there, and then I moved to Mangalore as my yeah, I was housed there for after training. And the first day when I went to Bangalore in my project, I knew that that place was not for me. There were people who were much older than me. I was just out of college, extremely excited and energetic, and everybody else who was much older was sad. And I personally did not want that. So from that moment on, I started to figure out what else could I do. Considering I only knew Java, everything else was a black box for me, and I started to learn things. Online, did a bunch of uh, failed experiments like selling t-shirts online, make your own poster and print it, um, blogging. Things didn't work out, these things, but one thing which I stumbled upon and it surprisingly worked was video. So in 2014, 2015, YouTube was extremely new in India. You didn't have a lot of content, and me and another friend of mine in Infosys, both of us were figuring out what to do. And both of us didn't know anything about video, but we saw this Saturday Night Live show where the guy goes to New York and asks people on the street about some pressing topics, and we thought like, why don't we replicate this as a just as a test, and see how it goes. There was one YouTuber in India who's also started to do something like that, and so we packed our bags, went to Bangalore one weekend, and did our first video. This was around Gandhi Jayanti. So we had this recipe that, hey, let's have a very angry uncle who thinks that Gen Z are bad and they don't know about anything about Gandhi. Let's have a few Gen Z people, and fortunately the recipe worked. We had about 30 subscribers that which were our friends, and within about 4 or 5 hours the video had 30K plus views, and we are surprised how is that happening. The video was picked up by a lot of these media publications, BuzzFeed and things like that, and essentially positioning it in a way where like Netzians don't know anything about Gandhi. So that was why it went viral, and that sort of triggered back that, hey, this was fun to do, and it worked. So we took about a month to do another video that really failed. It got about 100 views, and then we did the third one that became super viral again. It was picked up by a lot of publications, and we got inbound from different media houses that, can you replicate this for us? So in
Wow.
retrospect, I think that we should have continued our own channel, and I would probably be something else now. Life would be something else, but we ended up um, like selling those videos for other brands, and one of which at that time was a South Indian channel, and we started this um, series with them called Roadside Stories in Bangalore. And we would travel each week from Bangalore to Bangalore over the weekend, shoot two videos, one on Saturday, one on Sunday, then go back. And this was, train travel because we didn't have a lot of money.
So how
And
long
then
did it take in train for you guys to travel?
it was about 10 hours. So overnight train. So Friday night we would board about 8 p.m. and we would reach 5 6 a.m. We would stay in a very shitty place, and record two videos. We would do this in MG Road. So by the time we were, in fourth or fifth week of this journey, people like stalls and different thela people in MG Road knew us that hey, these guys come every week, and we had a lot of friends there basically. But this worked well. We did about for 8 months,
Hmm.
and shot close to 40 videos. The videos have north of 60 70 million views on their channels.
Wow.
And in this journey, like, a few brands started to reach out. We did videos for Tinder, Times of India, a couple of colleges like IIT, IIM Kozhikode, and I think in this journey realized that hey, each video was paying us more than what Infosys was paying us for per month. So
That's
it was fun.
a commercial for Infosys then.
And surprisingly, they still have the same package. Like what was there in 2014, still when a new
Wow.
joinee joins Infosys is the same package.
So
So they don't really account for inflation, I guess.
that that's like, I mean, we can actually have a conversation, entire conversation about that too. However,
Yeah.
I would like to. There's so many interesting aspects like which come across. Firstly, just going back to the fact you're from a small town in Rajasthan, so it is known for something. Chur, right? Like, are
Uh,
you
Churu is the district, so it's a village actually. There are
right?
about 500, 600 houses where I am, and Churu is the district where this village is.
Okay,
So
okay.
the
It
only
has
attraction,
temperatures, right, Naresh? It is, or am I incorrect?
yeah, it's extremely hot and extremely cold, and like the only thing to see in the village is basically the water tank. That's the only thing that you can like. It's a tourist place in the village.
Uh,
It's a big water tank. So it's a
so
very small village.
So, for those people who are not aware, so Rajasthan and Churu is in Rajasthan, which is west of India and almost borders Pakistan.
Yeah,
And Naresh has now traveled for his undergrad to Hyderabad, which is closer to South India, or rather, politically part of South India, if we say. And then from there, he moved further south to Mangalore,
yeah,
uh, and from where he started doing, like, he quit his actual job. And by the way, for everybody in India, quitting a well-paying job or a regular salary is not acceptable by parents. So you've done two very unconventional things here, Naresh. One is that after your undergrad, after engineering, you do not join banking or consultancy. You went actually for engineering, right? Secondly, you actually quit a stable job to try and figure out things for yourself, which itself is such a bold move, and it shows a lot of character because it's not easy in our culture to do so. So I think explains a lot how you got into crypto. However, I know the rest of your journey is still left. I have one question. Um, what did you learn when you started selling like t-shirts online, or when you failed with this, and what made you think that let's do videos? Because clearly whatever you were doing, it worked for you, and that creativity, it came across what you were trying to achieve. So what is it, is there anything which helped you from like selling those t-shirts online, the failures there, to the video, and then maybe we can continue with your journey, how you got into crypto.
yeah. The selling t-shirts part, like, it was extremely difficult. E-commerce was just picking up, so um, you know, getting that t-shirt printed was the easier job. But how do you ship it? There were like today it's super easy. You have like third party managed services. At that time, that was not the case. So there was a lot that would happen there, and I realized at that time that yes, I can do the shipping part, but marketing is the crucial aspect. And that is sort of what led me to learning more by myself on marketing. And I saw video as an emerging opportunity within marketing, that brands would start to look at this, as this will probably have more reach, and every platform would try to adopt it. So like that is why I stumbled upon video and thought of doing it for the first time. Um, and then later also, like after 8 months of doing all of this back and forth, um, I had more conviction that video is going to play a much bigger role for brands, because I started to see like social media reels. I started to
Hmm.
see these short form videos with text overlays and static
This is like
images.
Snapchat had also become kind of popular, right? Like if you're in the timeline
Yeah.
wise.
Yeah. So that's sort of what led me, and it was super funny. I've always been a risk taker in all steps of my journey, especially career wise. And when I was leaving Infosys, like my parents were they were super supportive, but they were also in this mindset of, you know, they used to think video and the whole industry is something which is not as socially acceptable as software engineering, or you're working in business. So they
They
would,
can't show off their son to in front of
yeah,
other parents, right?
yeah.
Like that's
So
the Indian parent thing.
so what do you do? I'm like, I'm taking videos, and they would say that, hey, you're just being a good
Cameraman,
photographer.
he's a cameraman. We
Cameraman,
camera him there.
cameraman. That's the right term, actually. So, but like I took that risk. I went, and when I left Infosys, uh, the team that we were working with, they also stopped at the same time. They're like, hey, we don't have budgets anymore. We can't do this. And
Mm.
like what I started to do was, I realized that brands need video now. Like that is definite, because they are reaching out to us. Like Tinder reached out to us. We were nobodies, but we were able to do that to them. And I'm sure that digital marketing companies that were primarily doing SEO, and starting to scratch the surface of social, will have video demand. So whatever money we had, moved to Bangalore and started to reach out to as many digital marketing companies as possible. That my only pitch was, I'll do videos in the cheapest manner for you, and this is my proof of work. I have done about 60, 70 videos, and I have like millions of views. So
Mm.
give me work. um,
So
Surprisingly,
cheap
like,
and proof of work. It's a
yeah.
sell in India.
So surprisingly, one digital marketing company from Hyderabad, he showed a lot more conviction, and ended up giving us about 50 lakhs,
Wow.
that he took some equity stake. For him it was more strategic, that I will, rather than having multiple partners, I will just use you guys, and all of my clients can get videos much faster. And that sort of helped us. It gave us an ability to hire more people, and also start doing BD more aggressively. So I did that for about 2 years. We worked with a lot of global brands, and then a lot of Indian startups also. Your Story, Cisco, Infosys. That was one of the amazing days where we had to go back and shoot video of Infosys chief operating officer, and we are going in with a lot of pride, saying we would work here, and now we are coming in as vendors, and we are getting a lot of respect from everybody.
So
That
how
was a
was
good moment.
so how was their reaction when they got to know? Did you tell them that you worked, or did they already know? How was that reaction?
They, like, the CEO obviously didn't know, and we did tell them. So they were happy that the alumni is trying to build something of their own,
Hmm.
and they liked it. And in this, like, video journey, also stumbled upon blockchain and crypto. So Uno Coin, one of the old exchanges in India, We did a bunch of videos for them in early 2017 when they were launching their app. So we did like app walkthrough videos, regional
Wow.
videos for them.
That's the
And
time
that's,
in 2017 when Coinbase became big too. Correct?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
So that sort of led me into this crypto rabbit hole, which I spent, the entire 2017 in. And by the end of like 2017, I sold my stake to the same digital marketing company. I thought that, I'm making good business. We were making a lot more money than I had ever, thought and imagined of. Living in like a 5 BHK house, like, just money, splurging money.
Uh,
And for me though, I wanted to like learn more, and go much deeper into like the marketing aspect beyond video. And that was limiting me, considering there's a digital marketing company, so we cannot have overlapping services.
right.
We did have some product innovation as well. Like we built a product at that time where all you had to do was put in text in an Excel sheet, and uh, the uh, so there was the editing platform would utilize this Excel sheet and create like a 1 minute video with text overlays and its own sort of a background from these um, free photo platforms like Unsplash and things like that. So we tried to tinker with these things, but again there was a limitation personally for me. So I exited, I sold my stake and started to surprisingly build in crypto at that time. I wanted to do
I'm
like
not
a,
surprised by the way at all. Like you have the creatives, you could build, and
yeah.
you are ambitious. So I think three things clearly.
So, 2017, the entire year, I was deep into crypto trading primarily, and had some capital at disposal. So I was just experimenting with things. But by end of 2017, after I sold, I'm like, okay, now let me, build like a media platform. So CoinDesk, Cointelegraph were also new at that time. They had just
Hmm.
started in that year, and there was a lot of awareness issue for crypto. It still is to some extent, but at that time it was a lot. So started to design that platform, build that platform, but Ethereum crashed, Bitcoin crashed, and I was like, hey, I don't know much about
This
this.
is
So
2018, right? So now
yeah,
because the
like end of 2017 and Jan 2018,
18,
after
yeah.
Ethereum crashed, because I was paying from my pocket. So I'm like, hey, I don't really feel that there is anything that's going to happen here beyond speculation. So let me leave. And then I joined Walmart, their tech division, and started to do a lot of social branding and digital work. So I worked for about 3 years there. I was heading their digital for their tech arm, working very closely with HR on branding, on employee
Hmm.
value proposition. It was one of the best experiences that I've had. And the second one, like the only thing that has beaten that is working at Aptos. Like in between, I was doing things, but I did not enjoy things so much. Um,
You're so passionate and you do not feel like you're achieving something or growing.
yes, yes. That was an amazing experience. But 2020, my one of my friends like got stuck with us in COVID in Bangalore in our house, and his
I
friend
love
was,
before you continue, Naresh, I love a COVID story. I think so many relationships have like kind of become something or become nothing during this period in time. So just to confirm, where were you during COVID and where were you stuck? Was it Bangalore that time? Were you
Bangalore.
already okay?
Yeah,
Yes. So
Bangalore, and our friend also got stuck.
okay.
So that guy, one of his colleague was like, hey, you should buy Bitcoin. This is like, peak lockdown time. And he knew that I had tinkered around with it. So he asked me that, tell me how to buy. So I showed him Binance, helped him buy some tokens, and it also piqued my interest at that time. So after I left, I never looked at crypto again.
Okay.
And I was only fully involved in Walmart, doing my work there. And then when like crypto came back, like it came back to me. I was not looking for it, and I went back to look at the same platforms which I knew. Um, I saw a lot more tokens, a lot more coverage, and there were actual applications. So in 2017, it was just ideas that Ethereum will be built and will
I
be,
love you said actual applications. I think that's such an important term in this industry. These are actual products, actual applications.
yeah. So that sort of, and another thing that, made me decide that, I need to go full time in crypto is when I was building that, the media sort of a platform, I had this domain called Decrypt. And when I saw in 2020, there is a similar platform called Decrypt with a D.
Right. Yes.
And that was a moment where, I felt that, I was doing this for 3 years back. I could have just started it at that time. So, I think May 2020, I go back, like, to my manager. She was heading, like, she was basically doing comms marketing for India at Walmart. And I told her that I want to leave, and I want to go full time in crypto.
Wow.
She just flipped. She's like, do you have a job? Are you crazy? Like, we don't know what is going to happen to the world, and you want to leave like a very cushy job in Walmart where you like have very set timelines, and you want to do crypto where you don't even know what's going to happen.
Lord, yeah.
Uh, but I knew in my head that I'm going to do this. I'm
So
going to go back full time to crypto.
so for I think just the gravity of the situation, like I think hopefully people from outside of India are watching this as well. In India, firstly, startup itself is a big deal. Secondly, the good part about Indian culture is when you're working with people, even your managers, they do care, not just from the business perspective. So I'm sure the manager of yours was more concerned that what will you do, because I think it is somewhere established you can find another person to work with in India. We don't value somewhere human resources as much as maybe like America might be doing. But the personal relationship, there's so much attachment. Then what's going to happen to you? Are you going to be okay? Like you have everything going on for you, right? Like why would you leave? So
Yeah.
I think it shows so much firstly about your mentality that you were like, I'm gonna do this and I will, no matter what happens. Also that you got an opportunity to work with good people, Naresh, that they cared about that how will you proceed from here? Not from the interest of business itself, but personal
Yeah.
too. So is that the right way to put it in a way?
To be honest, like my manager was like, anyway, all our plans for that year are on hold. So we don't have a lot of day-to-day work. We're still
Right.
figuring out the branding and social strategy. And then hiring is sort of on hold at that time also. So she gave me this opportunity that, do 3 days work of Walmart, and remaining 4 days, do whatever you want, but don't quit till you get a job. Don't quit. But I was super adamant because I knew that if I'm in two boats, I will never be able to justify either. I need to
Mm.
like take one boat and go with that flow. So what I told her was, you have your goals for this year. Let me execute those goals for you. So I had this, but I will put my resignation right now. Put me in
Mm.
notice period for how much ever time you want.
Mm.
And so I had a notice period for of about 4.5 months.
Mm.
In November, my goals were completed for that year. Whatever we had decided, we achieved those numbers, and I then left. Meanwhile, I was like training the new person that I hired to replace me, spending a lot of time. Had the same amount of conviction. Like just because I'm in notice period did not mean like I would do less. I'm always aligned on a number, and that's what drives me. So she did care a lot. And even after that, like when I was so came to crypto, joined as head of marketing for a super early stage startup. I was consulting a couple of startups like that one, joined as head of marketing. We raised about $5.3 million in March 21 from
Good times,
around
Naresh.
50.
The bull markets, huh?
Yeah, like completely different market at that time. And after that, realized a lot of things. But my manager would ping me till 2023 every 3 4 months that, if you want a job, you come back. Don't hesitate ever. You just ask me that, I want a job back, and we will hire you. And then a lot of other functions within Walmart would reach out a lot of times that, we have this opening, you would be a good fit, why don't you apply? I would reject that, considering like I was head down, and I don't think I would ever go back to Web 2 now.
Hmm.
I would want Web 2 to be reimagined with Web 3. That is what I'm more focused on. But people did care, as you rightly mentioned. Like in India, it is also you're lucky to be surrounded by such people,
Hmm.
and I definitely was. So um,
But I think it speaks volumes about you because good people attract good people. Clearly, but really cool, Naresh. I think so. Hold on. So now we've already reached the part where you're in the crypto startup. I was head of marketing.
yeah,
You're still a few years before you join Aptos.
yeah.
Yes.
So that startup, we were trying to do things. At that time, I realized that we raised a lot of capital. We have so many requests, but VCs and investors were not really helping us so much. And he was a first-time founder. So I started to feel that, is there a model where I can start helping people? So there were a few startups where I would just contribute. I met other people who had the same vision, and we would contribute a bit, and then they would give us tokens. And surprisingly, like a couple of tokens really flew up.
Hmm.
This got a lot of HNIs to be interested to invest
Hmm.
into these very early stage deals. And I left that startup and started a micro VC. We had about $10 million, some of ours, some of HNIs, and started to invest. Um, we did about 40 odd startups, some doing really, really well, some are non-existent. Didn't come with that, traditional investing mindset, but our core vision was, hey, good founder, we need to help. Um, we were we were going to do a much larger round, but then FTX, Luna, everything happened. So
I
I started an
relevant.
accelerator focused on India, because India is what I'm more aligned on, and throughout this time was getting a lot of deal flow from Indian teams. And I realized that there is some sort of a support system needed. The thesis did not play out. Like my thought process was, we'll do
Hmm.
an accelerator and we'll help them build.
Hmm.
But during the first cohort, like middle of the first cohort, I realized there is a lot of dependency here, like in this accelerator model. As
Hmm.
investors, we had money, so we could give money, and we would spend time. Like I would personally spend time on growth for these startups. But like when you are in this accelerator model, everything is third party. Like you cannot have any control. All you can give is, you can give some investment,
Hmm.
and I would need like maybe 4 or 5 years to create the same impact. And at that time, I thought, maybe joining an ecosystem focused on India might be a better approach to help Indian founders and create that impact. So between like a couple of options, I picked up Aptos. Aptos was very clear that, hey, India is a blank slate. We want to support founders, and I really like that opportunity. And I joined Aptos in early August 2023, and we've been doing a bunch of things. So yeah, that's like a long journey. Took a lot of time.
No, I think it's fantastic because Naresh, your journey, not everybody is able to share that you have experienced so many different, or you've worn so many different hats. And you've done it based on your conviction and your knowledge and your intelligence and one simple factor, having good relationship with people. So I think it's so important, long or not, because it's very inspiring, at least for a person like me, and I'm sure for a lot of other people, because life is just not one dimensional. It has so many different aspects how you can reach and achieve a goal which you would like to and still be happy. to bring that balance, to be passionate, to be whether working 24/7 or whether working simply 3 days a week, but doing it with passion and with love for what you're doing, and to continue searching for that. So I don't think it was very long from that perspective. So thank you actually for taking on the time and sharing that particular bit. I think it's incredible. And unless on a slightly different note, I think I met you during your accelerator time, unless I'm wrong. I think that's the first time we guys crossed paths. And then the next time I heard from you was when you joined Aptos, and it itself. So for me, I really after I think during bull market I was investing as well and I was trading. So I think India had become such a hot topic because Polygon was doing well, and then there were several startups which started coming about. That okay, this is an Indian co-founder jumps, CEO was an Indian guy. Like there was just so much happening across, and I remember this team was just like it had just lost steam after some time, and I felt after seeing that because I really like Aptos, as you know, and seeing that there's a focus or there's a head of Indian ecosystem, it kind of gave me such a strong, sense that okay, India is back, kind of like there is again focus, bear market or no bear market, like there is someone who is focusing on the potential of India itself. I don't know how you took it. Of course, it was quite personal for you because you were the one representing that. But how did you, like from objective perspective, now that you look back, like how do you think about it? That
So,
having someone representing India.
like the biggest opportunity for me essentially was like I had multiple opportunities at that time for the same role. And the thing that I liked was for Aptos, it was not about, hey, let's do XYZ in India. It was more on the lines of what can India offer and what could be done. So there are, if we look at it like where I started to think was, at that time, it's 2023, mid 2023, and I've seen a lot of other chains trying to do a lot of different things. Some have been very successful, some not so much. So it gave me an opportunity to ditch the playbook,
Hmm.
really think about like what can India actually offer and how can we support these builders, because that was the mindset. It's very clear, particularly at a foundation level. It is absolutely clear. Um, and that was the most exciting part. And We had like the first year, the first 3 4 months was primarily like me trying to get a sense of how things work. It was a different role altogether. So first couple of months was that, and then we had the India Blockchain Week 2023, which was like we tried to be present sort of everywhere, and the amount of reception I got from people seeing that, hey, Aptos is here, and we're trying to do a few things that ignited my thought process a lot more, that people are also interested and are in search for a few aspects. So for me, like I'm more of a data guy and trying to reach out to people, understand what their issues are, and see if we can reinvent something. So yeah, 2024 was an exciting year, and this year we have like plans to do 10x of what we did last year.
1 second, 1 second. So when you said 10x, what do you mean? What are you going to be doing for 2025? Or do you want to keep it for the last? Like, I leave it to you. I'm excited. I want to know because this affects me directly. What's the plan?
Yeah. So I'll give some context with 2024 so that 2025 becomes much more easier to explain. So my
And
focus was
so
very
we are
clear
comparing 2024 with Aptos in
with
India to
in India.
what will be Aptos in India
India
2025.
2025. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
So
straight from narration, right? We take it.
yeah, yeah. I'm unsure like if everything I say makes yeah, we'll figure that out. So now 2024, when we like this vision is very clear. Aptos Foundation wants to help Indian builders. And here I'm thinking, what is something that could be built out from India?
Hmm.
So rather than chasing a lot of, hey, let's do a bunch of events and community meetups, things like that, which still did that in experiments and like learned a lot from there. Um, our focus was more on, can there be more and more open source builders that we can attract,
Hmm.
and then that talent can be pushed out to work in the ecosystem itself. So we have some success stories. We have some builders who started out doing some open source work and now full time in Aptos ecosystem working as engineers.
Hmm.
And that was like one primary focus again as an experiment. We had a lot of good builders building, doing a lot of open source contributions on Aptos. The second aspect for me was, uh, you know Indian builders great in building things,
Hmm.
but if we remove the typical Web3 builders, there are a lot of people who want to build products that consumers can actually use, and
Hmm.
traditional business models can be reimagined. So my focus was identifying these teams to really bring all of this on chain, where the end customer doesn't really know that, hey, I'm doing things on chain and I'm getting value back. So we have like a few teams. So there was a media interview with Avery in 2024 and by a bunch of journalists, and he talked about this, that like 80% of all active users on Aptos are coming from Indian teams. Um,
That's
so
a big
that
number.
is, yeah, it's a big number, and in this, a majority of the users don't know that they are actually using on-chain products. They're using blockchain as a technology, not for trading. And what typically Web3 folks who are like deep in trenches don't realize is, they think of user activity only by seeing, is there, DEX activity. While that is important, while trading is like required, and right now that has found some sort of a PMF, there are billions of users who use, like, consumer products on their day-to-day life. For them, you cannot really make them come and do, 6 7 clicks to do a simple transaction. It doesn't
Right.
work that way. You need to
Hmm.
make it easy for them and bring that technology layer to them. They don't care if, somebody is using an Oracle database or something else. They don't care.
Right.
Like, people who are deep in trenches, we care that, hey, this is done through ZK proofs. This is much faster. Here we have less validators. All of these issues come to us, but that end customer doesn't care. And for me, I believe in this thesis that the technology play is going to be much bigger than
Hmm.
trading play. Yes, trading play will make sense. It has found its PMF today, and speculation or gambling play also has found its PMF today. But there is a lot more that we are not even looking at. So
I
I
think
was very clear that we want to look at this.
I think I concur with your thought because this is something which when you're already building crypto, or even like if you're trading, like in traditional finance, you forget that a normal person's day to day is going to office, coming back to their family, maybe taking care of the parents or the kids, cooking for themselves. Now between all of this, or working out, right? Like however the routine might be. Now between that and then studying a new technology, that how it works is something which is extremely I think inconsiderate, because people don't have that time. They're still trying to make their ends meet in
Yeah.
most of the part of the world. So I think it's very fascinating, especially fascinating, and it's very unconventional, similar to how you have been throughout your life, I think, to imagine consumer apps, because as you said, the entire premise of blockchain and what people continue saying, the real use case of crypto is actually like trading, right? Or it's primarily like how trading can be changed, or payment services.
Yeah.
However, here you're saying that consumer apps themselves can be reimagined. And I think like the app probably over here, which you're referring to, is also a blockchain version of consuming media, right? Which would have onboarded a lot of people, and it's simply like if you think about it, what's the use case? You already have it in Web two. However, here it does create a streamline where creators themselves get quite clearly on without any manipulation
Yes, yes,
and
yes.
still see. So I definitely concur, and also it brings like a very interesting point, Naresh, how you thought about this. So may I ask you, like I think you did mention that how consumer apps can be reimagined in crypto.
Yeah,
So what kind of consumer apps, like what
yeah,
should a person imagine
yeah.
that these have been reimagined, or what have you seen?
I think there is a lot here where we don't know how these business models would evolve. But I'll share like maybe two, three examples of existing apps from India building on Aptos and how they have reimagined this. Um,
Hmm.
the first one, a good example is Stan, getstan.app. So it's basically creators, primarily gaming streamers, and
Hmm.
the audience that is looking at streaming. I've been a big user of that as well. Like I have two monitors. One monitor usually is somebody just playing and streaming game, and I'm working.
So
Um,
it's like Twitch, right? In a
it's
way.
like it's like Twitch.
Hmm.
Typically, what happens is these, particularly in India, there's not a lot of Twitch users, but YouTube users. So YouTube gaming, YouTube
Hmm.
game streaming, that is big, and the fans want to be closer to these gamers. So they have started, like YouTube also have started to monetize this through their join function. You can join and you can get some patches, you can get some priority content, access to
Right.
Discord. That's about it. But
Hmm.
this is also one to many. It's not one to one, or it's not super engaging. So what
Right.
Stamp has done is, you basically are buying NFTs, but users it's not labeled as NFTs. They buy cards of different clubs. Clubs are basically NFT gated rooms, and when you buy
Understood.
a card, you get access to that club. And now inside that club, you can like launch PUBG, Fortnite within that club, play
So
with
it's
those
a
people.
loyalty card. It doesn't matter blockchain or not. It's the NFT, but it doesn't matter, and you
Yeah,
get it. I think a real world example. I think Zostel is doing that too, right? In a very different way. This is all happening
in a
virtually.
different way. Yeah,
But
yeah,
Zostel is doing like actual real NFT to enter
yeah.
their like to work from there or something like that,
Yeah,
right?
it's Zo. It's
Hmm.
basically like a subset of Zostel. You could call same founders. They are doing something which is more IRL. This is
Hmm.
more at an application level. So it's
Can reach
using
millions
blockchain
of
in
people.
a way where it's creating those immutable, like NFT gated access.
Hmm.
But for the end customer, they don't need to know. All they are doing is they're buying these cards, they're getting inside, they're engaging with their gaming creators and the gaming community, playing those. You also have within the app, player versus player gaming, which is also happening on chain. They don't know it, and it's all immutable. The app has about 3 million monthly active users. In
Wow.
November, Nazara, which is the largest listed company for gaming in India, did a all cash deal, and took 16% stake in Stan. And like when we met the founders in like late 2023, they didn't have all of this. They had this idea to build this. They had the team to build this, and our team really liked the way the business model is imagined, where now royalties, everything happen. They still don't have a token play, but they have
Hmm.
their own points which users can redeem for a bunch of other things inside the app. But there is a lot of revenue sharing happening, and these token gated way is the immutable way, where creators know that I'm not being scammed. If somebody is buying card, I know that person is buying card.
So simply put, like if I would have been doing this on Web 2, I would have been relying on the calculation of the company and the
Yes.
trust that I trust this company, they will be doing it correctly, and I'm
Yeah.
getting my money, right? Or rather, I'm getting my pay.
Yeah.
Here, you're not relying on the company because it's already processed or ingrained in the system that whatever you're doing, it's transparent to you, it's
Yeah.
predefined. So there's no room for negotiation here. You
Yeah.
know this is what you'll get. It won't be that the founder like, oh my gosh, like we had we ran out of funds, although you did this, but we could not do that, or like there's nothing which they can take advantage of, or you do not meet this particular criteria. It's all embedded already in the system,
Yeah.
so you cannot tweak that system. It is clear, right? And in a case
Yes.
of dispute too, that system is, or the smart contract is already visible to you. So you know if someone's changed anything. That the contract you made first versus if there's something changed, you already know the difference. There's a proof for it.
Yes.
So I,
Yes.
as a user, don't have to worry at all.
As a
So
user, you don't even know, like you're using a Web3 application. As a
but
creator, you have this trust. And similar to this is another interesting application called Kgen.
hmm,
So what they do is they have like one part of their business is they go to these Web2 publishers,
hmm,
and in Web2 games there is like older games have a lot of playtime.
hmm,
Newer games have less, like distribution or discoverability, and older games, they want to retain people as much as possible. New games want visibility. This is a
hmm,
traditional like problem in Web2 gaming today.
right,
So what they've done is for these older games, they have this loyalty plug and play solution
hmm,
where a user account is created on chain when the user logs in. And now, as much as the user is playing, they're getting some points which could be redeemed for Web 2 kind of rewards. You get Starbucks or Amazon gift cards, things like that. So your
right,
retention is increasing. And while this is happening, what's happening at the infra level of Kgen is all of the user parameters except for their while like not being super hungry about which application they're using. Typically there's a lot of ad monetization that happens in Web 2. Here user parameters are picked in an anonymous manner. There are a lot of attributes attached to the user parameter, that okay, user number A is playing, likes to play only shooting games,
hmm,
and then likes to click on certain ads, likes
right,
to do certain number of things.
hmm,
And this data is going to then be super valuable for you know advertisers and publishers to enable discoverability for their newer games.
oh
So
wow,
there's this
okay,
interesting ad play where instead of promoting on like Meta mobile ads or Google mobile ads, publishers could come here and promote through these. First, user data is completely anonymized.
hmm,
And with these attributes, you have much richer targeting than age, region, which Meta or a Google provides. So this is another interesting play where the end user doesn't know that they're using a Web3 application, but there's a lot of data that is coming in that is going to reimagine the traditional ads business model. Again, team
and that's
building.
how they make the revenue actually. So that's how it becomes
Yes,
sustainable.
they are a profitable company. They make, I don't know if things are public, but they make about I think 18 million ARR. So they are
Oh,
super
wow.
profitable, and
It's incredible
they have
actually.
like ton of money in their bank also. So now imagine like if today they're doing this for gaming, tomorrow if they add two three more verticals, the same user is logging in with Gmail on different products, creating the same account, and you know that okay, this person, you can do a lot more about this person without actually opening up the data of that person to these
Hmm.
advertisers. So that's an interesting play.
So,
You
so
could
that
end
the
up a lot of
privacy, so the person's privacy still remains. You're not
privacy.
being like, annoyed or scammed or like really bogged down, like continuously being stalked by these apps and other places. However,
Yes.
you're still getting the advertisements if you choose to do so in a certain way.
Choose to do
And
so.
the
Yeah.
advertisers also get to advertise for those without harassing anyone,
Yeah.
basically.
And better targeting, like advertisers, like if there is better targeting, there is,
Yes.
the ROAS is much higher. They also
Yes.
want that. Advertisers also want that. So
This
this is
would.
again very interesting business model. Built on Aptos, has about right now 4.4 million users on a monthly basis. For a typical Web3 guy, they think that there are no users, but yes, there are users. It's just they are not trading.
Yes, that's extremely true, because if I see the biggest apps which have come out of India or the world actually in terms of users, they're all non-trading apps. Like absolutely. So, which is, I think it's super interesting, and also I think which also shows there's also a big market for apps we built which are not related to trading, and at the same time for trading to also become more inclusive, because
Yeah.
it still seems to, whether blockchain or not, it still seems to be belong to an elite group of people who have probably the knowledge to do, be able to do so. But okay, Naresh, I'm excited. So what's there for 2025?
So 2025, like we are going to go a lot more mainstream.
Are we
Like we
getting
will.
are we getting some alpha? Are we getting something which is not known
I
by
mean,
the
I
world
can't
yet?
drop names as of now, but Indian household names, a lot of them will be utilizing Aptos network.
Oh, wow.
Um, more prominent ones. So
Can we
again,
have a prediction? Can we have a prediction market on this? How to go about this?
we
Which
might
name?
have that opportunity. We might have that opportunity. Right now, it's about getting that abstracted experiences to these, like at scale. So right now, let's say if we have about 2-3 million, like about 6-7 million users, this year the target would be about 20 million. So can we get like 20 million users from India using Aptos network, where the users don't even know? So that is one sort of direction where we want to double down. And last year we had a lot of experiments from a developer standpoint. For founders, we had a few experiments. This year it's a more structured program. So how we are
Hmm.
thinking about it is, um, so we have with a partner starting early March, we have boot camps and then hackathon in 5 regions. So let's say Delhi, we have about 6-7 boot camps in different colleges for
Hmm.
learning, and
Okay.
then at the end of those boot camps, there is a 48 to 72 hours hackathon in Delhi, where all of these people can now build whatever they have learned. And For these guys, there is a funnel that is built out. So we had experimented with this Aptos winter school model.
Yeah,
Now we
I
want to.
heard that went very well, right, Naresh?
That
The
went
winter
very
school in Bombay,
well.
correct? Unless I'm wrong.
Yeah,
I went to
Bombay,
Bombay.
and then we did one more in Bits Pilani.
Okay.
Now the learning there are like a lot of learnings. One primary aspect was, like, we couldn't funnel these guys to do more. So this year the
Hmm.
focus is helping them to do more. So these builders who are now building in hackathons will filter down to winter school, which is much collaborative. Last year it was not. So this year, like, I want you guys, I want people from global laptops coming in together for about 7-8 days and helping these builders turn into founders. And then again, a funnel below that is we are launching an accelerator program with Hashed. So it's again not super public yet, but we're launching an accelerator program where these builders who are funneled from winter school get a larger check size and a lot more global networking and support so that they can continue to build. So last year we did experiments. This year we are sort of putting them into structure. And then a baseline to this is, we are going to enable the community to, like, engage, earn more through Move Club, which is going to act as a funnel and home for all of these builders. There is a lot of interesting things there. We have something coming
Hmm.
in about a week's time, and then adding more layers to it, where Indian builders get exposure to global founders, VCs, and they can learn from them. So, like, more structured. So those are plans for 2025, much bigger. The team is going to visit India a lot more times. The Aptos team. Yeah, that's those are like some things about India 2025.
Naresh, I have to say, I think it's extremely like I think it just makes me feel very happy, and also it's a beautiful way of doing things because you and the team have made customized it to India. You've localized it. You've not copy pasted something which worked somewhere else. You're giving a chance to so much talent which does exist in India. And it's just not for India. Like, I think what's inspiring is apart from barring 2025 countries which are developed, most countries, they have so much raw talent. And it's very difficult for different cultures to fit in the same structure, which has been applied and which has succeeded. So, creating that space for them to be able to do their best in a space customized for them and to ensure like not only do they showcase what they are capable of but also amalgamating them and putting the jigsaw puzzle a piece of jigsaw puzzle in the global scale and how they can contribute globally. And I think it's incredible. I think it's extremely, I think for me particularly, not because the podcast is with you, but this is what, like, I don't know if we've ever spoken about, like, when I started building and I'm completely building with Indian teams. My ambition has always been to do something for India. Like, how can you uplift our country? And that does not mean like it's just because I'm Indian. It's had I been born in some other country, it would have been the same. But doing something, localizing it while still globalizing it to create that balance. I think it's fantastic. I think I'm super excited for 2025. And as you know, like, we guys would be there to help whatever is required on our end and however we can help you grow and create this environment because I don't know if you agree, but I do believe world there's always been so much going on, and I think past couple of years has been really tough from every aspect, which is a cycle of nature. However, I think with if people have job and financial security and a good community, it allows people to live peacefully and be happy and excel in what they're able to do. And that's why I think world is just a better place for everybody, not just for a few. um, so yeah.
I've been, like, lucky enough that, like, you, a bunch of other Indian founders are coming together to help. Um, like, for me, and today, like, if we see every blockchain as an India strategy, they want to grow here, they want to do different things here. Um, Only thing it is going to happen is if we are able to see what India can offer. Like, let's say DeFi, very difficult for Indian apps to scale. Yes, we have seen success stories, but doesn't happen with everybody. But if
Hmm.
we if we look at the Web2 startup ecosystem for India, that has been growing and developing for a couple of decades now. And in that, there is so much learning and so much product obsession. Um, and all of the new builders that are coming in are already ingrained because now they use these applications on a daily basis. And
Yeah.
they want to build applications that customers use. But the biggest struggle for them is the way programs are generally designed are,
Hmm.
and we also, like, learned it through experimentation. We didn't design it the way that we wanted to, but the way that the programs are designed is you build is focusing on sexy stuff. You
Right.
have these cool things happening, and then what happens at the end is majority of them build something and then they leave, and then they are in this limbo where they want to build, so they find a different opportunity, different idea, they build something, and then they leave. So my hypothesis is that, like, how can we funnel you And let's say you're building something in March, and through these different initiatives that we have, if you are consistent, how can you funnel you and provide you more capital, more support, and more, focus on the same idea to nurture and make it something that people actually use and be unsexy. Like, this is not sexy. Like, you continuously boggling down, thinking about, hey, what am I doing? Is this idea even going to work? And then testing out with a few people and realizing that, yeah, people are liking it. That is boring work. But that is required to build something people will use.
I think consistency, resilience, it's the key to success to a startup. And I think it's really good to hear that you guys have identified the actual pain points. Being a builder, I think the biggest pain point is getting capital at the right time. Because ultimately, like at least from my perspective, a company's role is to become sustainable. um, so we don't a company does not actually need money to hold on to it or to have deep pockets, but rather how to get it to people so you're able to sustainably grow and create that value add. And sometimes, even if you have a great product, and if you don't know the right people, or if you don't know how to be meant, like if you have no mentors or you don't have capital at the right time, a very good product which can really benefit everybody can also fail. So the fact that you are, establishing these funnels, I think it's incredible, and I am really, really bullish on this. And also, I think it makes me more bullish on somehow Aptos now, even more. I've always been, but I think it just kind of gives me a very different take or perspective as well on this. Okay, I think we're nearing almost. We've crossed an hour, and I think I can speak to you for a really long time, Naresh. I think this has happened before as well. So, so maybe like wrapping it up. Anything like which is really exciting or something you're looking forward to, crypto, non-crypto, business, non-business, or it could be both too. Like, what is it that you're looking forward to in 2025? And just anything which you'd like to share with everybody.
So for me, like, what's super exciting is how, globally, even like leading primarily with the US and now in pockets in India, governments are also trying to leverage the technology. Although on trading as a PMF, there is still some scrutiny.
Hmm.
Um, I believe, like, how I feel is like crypto has few use cases: global payments, trading and speculation. Trading is one, then gambling and speculation is the other, and then
Hmm.
you have these traditional business models that could be changed. So um, there is interest from a lot of governments globally. Even in India, we are in conversations with a bunch where these guys want to use the technology layer, and that is super exciting to me because I think once we so it's a tipping point. So once that happens, we will see like a barrage of people coming in, and the complexities will go away. Like, people will not care about ZK proofs and things like that. People will just build, use it as a technology as it should be used, and leverage the core principles that giving back to the users. Things like these will come. New business models are going to come. That is the most exciting thing. Hopefully it happens in 2025. I don't know, it might take a bit longer, but I'm optimistic considering how many governments are looking, big funds are looking. And then the other thing, which is really unique, primarily to India, is Web2 fintech use cases. They could also use stable coins, a lot of this, yields for users. Indian users are privy to, like, one click yields, or
Hmm.
one click investments. Today, that is only happening through exchange apps, but I strongly feel that if you are doing, KYC and things like that, because those rules are set up, there is a
Right.
opportunity here to build like a fintech application for India, which uses crypto and stable coins to give people more yield than what you would be getting through traditional banks.
Okay,
Big
from
opportunity.
wallet, which Indians love from
Yeah.
FD. As
Yeah.
compared to an FD, you can get.
Yeah, yeah, it's like similar to FD. So these are like some things that excite me. New consumer models, these excite me. Although, like in if we look at the crypto degen, or folks who are in the trenches, I still feel we are doing. There's a lot of PvP happening. There's a new narrative. People come, people spam there, then they go to a new narrative. Um, it should ideally change. People should look at a lot more, data, lot more things. But again, that is a speculative or a gambling PMF. That's the audience there, so we can't do much.
But Naresh,
Yeah, these
wouldn't
are
you
some.
agree? Sorry, wouldn't you agree that this is nature of almost every industry? Like this narrative of people just experimenting or not being in the right of consumers. Like you just have to go through that. Like I think it's just something humans do intentionally, unintentionally. It's like it's a repetitive pattern, but if you compare from 2021 to now, I think
Yeah.
more products are like actually products like
Su-
versus.
Surprisingly, though, like if we look at the data, if we look at let's say dissect DAUs of different chains, um, you don't get users there. Like
Hmm.
those products are coming out. Let's say Pump.Fun, great app. Now they've built an app,
Hmm.
has users, falls in the speculatory gambling category.
Right.
But let's say Helium doesn't fall under that category, but a lot of things are also off chain. There's only
Hmm.
few things that happen on chain.
Right.
Although that is something that I respect, and like it's a new business model that is bringing in. But not a lot of people actually talk about Helium as much as they talk about Pop.com, at least in the crypto trenches. I feel all of us have a responsibility, like when we are bringing in somebody new, or engaging with the world that is maybe even within crypto. I think we have responsibility to highlight a Helium over a Pump.Fun, because all of us know that speculation as a PMF is achieved, and that
Hmm.
happens in traditional markets also. You have a bunch of people who are speculating, who are gambling, who are betting on different things, but that is a very small market. Here, what we are ended up what is ending up happening is the bigger market is only doing speculation, which is something that I don't like. I feel a Helium
Hmm.
deserves more credit than Pump.Fun. But today, Pump.Fun is the biggest product. If you look at like Solana, if you dissect their DAUs, you'll see that Radium, Pump.Fun, these have more users than other applications. So
Absolutely. I think you're bang on. And like the projects I come from, we guys are very building quite unsexy products in a lot of ways.
yeah,
So I think I completely understand your value point over here.
prediction market is the only thing that has popped out, but that also in some sense is betting. You
Hmm.
are betting on something to happen, and falls in the same like gambling speculation category, although it's not like trading a bunch of memes and then you see charts falling down. It's a step higher. You can have more more insight into what you're predicting. So
Hmm.
there is that going on there, but those products have popped off, and them getting recognition.
But
It
but
is.
don't you think even like for example at Kana Labs we're building gas station, right?
Yeah,
It is not a very sexy product, but without a gas station, a lot of things wouldn't have happened. Like simply having transaction or giving a Web2 user, like a Web3 user, a Web2 field, like that
yeah.
couldn't have happened. Or similarly, the next product, which is the intent infrastructure, which is coming along. Similar, like these are all unsexy products. We are not known for these at all. People I think are still more excited about the perpetual futures which will be launching, but
Yeah.
the actual value add is exactly what you said, right? But I think it's kind of the nature too. Like in India we talk about Bollywood much more than we'd be talking about APJ Abdul Kalam, you know.
That,
At,
that,
right, like would that be a right thing to say in certain
no, that makes sense. That makes sense. We are primarily focused on like rather than original, like there is the same iteration. And I think it's human nature to some sense, but like I feel all of us have responsibility. At
Absolutely.
least when we onboard a new person, we shouldn't tell them about, hey, trade memes here or buy your token here.
Mm.
We should also showcase them, 2 3 products that are using the technology in a different manner altogether. It is going
Absolutely.
to create a different perception that, hey, this is more than just buying. Like for
Mm.
example, because of the bull market, you have a lot of new people coming in. So I was talking to one of my relatives, again, who is in Rajasthan, and he was asking me, like, should I buy Doge?
Mm.
Like for him, he doesn't know blockchain or anything exists. For him, it's a different kind of a trading app which does not require a demat account. Like for him,
Oh,
it is
wow.
that.
Yes. Makes sense, though.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
if we are able to educate him that this is a different technology altogether, and you have a helium, a Cajun, a Stan,
Mm.
using such technologies to build, recreate, and then there are so many other large Indian, products that I cannot talk about.
Yeah.
That is like that will change his perception, and might think about blockchain in some other way.
So the differentiation between cryptocurrency versus blockchain or the technology,
Yeah,
like that's what needs to be like spoken about and people should be educated about.
yeah. I
I
strongly feel
think
that.
I've done my job. My father clearly, like if anybody asks me, or in crypto, he's like, no, no, she's building on blockchain, the technology, not the token. So,
I
but yeah.
unfortunately have not been able to do that well. Like,
Mm.
my father thinks that I work at Bitcoin, so that's what he thinks, that
Maybe,
this
maybe I
company.
can allow my father to explain it to your father. Trust me, he'll explain it the simplest manner possible. He's
Yeah, maybe that could be it. I failed.
Oh my God. Well, thank you so much, Naresh. This was such a delight. And really, like, I think we can still go on because there's just so much to discover. And also, like, I would, just the products, so many different, projects. I think I did not know exactly what Stan was doing, and I know much better, like, the depth of what they're accomplishing here, right? Or similarly, like what is being built in India and how do we look at that. So I really really appreciate that. And yeah, I don't know, I hope this was good for you, and I hope maybe we can do another one in future. And I hope to see you again and continue building together, Naresh.
Yeah, thanks, Subi, for having me. And I've not done a lot of these, but this one was it was fun. Again, talking about India, talking about blockchain and crypto, I can go on for days. I just like one call out for Indian builders is that, like, if they're looking to build something in consumer,
Mm.
Aptos could be the choice, considering latency, considering cheap gas cost, scalability, and I'm only a DM away, and happy to help anybody make this happen.
So Naresh, how can they contact you? Twitter, would that be okay? Do you
Twitter is
respond on
better. Yeah, Twitter is better.
Okay,
I respond there.
awesome. Thank you so much, Naresh. Really appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thank
Surbhi.
you.
Yeah,
Bye.
bye.